what?
Just two persons.
He's three.
But can he be two? Because you're saying, I'm asking, can he be two? Can two persons?
You cut out what?
Huh?
You cut out.
My bad. Someone called me. Can God be two persons? What I'm saying is that would that be sustainable?
The reason why I would say no is because three persons is required for God to be the maximally great being. Like three persons is required. Two persons he'll be less than, and it wouldn't be God. Has to be at least. It has to be at least three.
So are you implying that God isn't powerful enough to be one or two persons?
No, what I'm saying is that God, because God is all powerful and because He's the greatest conceivable being, it has to be three. Being two, if He was just only two persons, He would be deficient and dependent in a way, and therefore, this is why it's in that He wouldn't be God.
Wait,
He's only two persons. He wouldn't be God.
How can God be sufficient if He's two? If like
what?
How is He insufficient if He's two?
If I can, may I? You just lack understanding of biblical mathematics. Our understanding is that Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord of God, the Lord is one. But we're not told how this one is used. There's a semantic range. So if you could put my screen up real quick, Avery. I just want to show something. So hold on, we're going to show complexity. I'm going to show you biblical math, okay? I'm going to show you how 1 + 1 can be 1. You ready?
Okay, but I'm that's what I'm appealing to. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, that's what you want to know. You want to know how 2 or 3 can be 1. This is what you're asking.
It's irrelevant.
You said you could debunk it. No, this is 100% relevant because you're not going against what the actual Bible teaches, right? So that's what I'm saying. Go. What's your question? Go ahead. What's your question?
Can God be two?
Yeah. So check this out. We have one God in three persons, and I'm going to show you from the Hebrew how 1 + 1 can equal 1. I have an example for you in the text of the Hebrew Bible where 1 + 1 can equal 1. I'm going to ask you a question. Don't get frustrated, Hassan. Can 1 + 1 be 1?
Can 1 + 1 be 1? No.
Okay, I'm going to show you in the Hebrew Bible that 1 + 1 can be 1.
No, you can just say 1 times. You just say 1 times 1. I don't. That's not.
I'm going to show you. Hold on. Do you want to have a conversation or do you want to have a monologue? You asked me about Ezekiel. You asked me, can 1 + 1? How can God be 2 and all this thing? I'm going to show you a passage in the Hebrew Bible that shows us that 1 + 1 can be 1, and then there's a mystery of ones. Check this out.
But respectfully, that's not my question. Respectfully,
that is your question. You're asking how can God be 2? Just listen for a second, then issue your refutation. Let me do my thing, all right? Then you can say what your problem is with it, right? Just give me 2 seconds, all right? Mm-hmm. God is talking to Ezekiel, and he's in the vision. He has these visions of 2 sticks, and he tells him, join them for yourself one to another into one stick, that they may become one in your hand, right? So you take 1 to 1, and they become 1 in your hand. Let's look at the Hebrew, right? It says, "V'karev otam echad el echad, 1 to 1 lecha," and it will be 1 stick in your hand, and they will also be ones. We have a passage in the Hebrew Bible where 1 + 1 = 1, and then the prophet clarifies that this 1 is ones. This is biblical mathematics, a perfect reflection of the complexity of God's unity.
All right. Now, okay, that's out of the way. I wasn't talking about this at all. I'm asking, can God be 2? I'm not saying is it possible for him. I'm not saying that it's illogical. No, that's not my argument right now. I'm arguing that can God be 2?
The thing is, we have one God who is in 3 persons. Listen, brother, ask a question and let me answer, okay? And then I can respond back to you. Then you could come back, right? Don't cut me off at every sentence I'm saying. You said, can God be 2? This is the answer. We have one God as defined in the Shema, but God has revealed himself and has eternally existed in 3 persons. A person would say, this makes no sense. How can 1 be 3? Well, we have a passage in the Hebrew Bible where the word echad, 1 joined to another 1, is still 1, and somehow it is ones. Achdim. This is the way Hebrew works, and this is the semantic range of the language.
All right, they're distinct, but this is not my question at all.
Are you asking why 3 instead of 2?
You could say that in a way, yeah.
Because I already answered your question on no. It's a no about him being 2.
So God cannot be 2.
No, he can't.
So he's not powerful enough to be 2.
No, he wouldn't be God. He's too powerful to be 2.
He's too powerful to be two?
Yeah, to be two, it would mean he's deficient and therefore is not God. I already answered that.
So he needs to be three.
For him to be God,
Three persons.
he
Three
has to be at least
distinct
three
persons
persons.
with one nature.
Has to be at least three distinct persons to be the maximally greatest conceivable being.
So he's dependent.
That's not a dependency; it's his nature.
It's not
Like,
even.
let me ask you this: is Allah all knowledgeable? Is He all knowing?
Yes.
If He wasn't all knowing, would He be God?
No.
So He's dependent on being all knowing to be God.
No, because Allah is one whole. He's one.
No,
You
you
take
believe.
away. You take away from the. You take
No,
away from the
please,
whole.
you're getting away from it. Does Allah need to be all knowing in order to be God?
Yes.
So is He dependent on being all knowing?
No.
Okay, there you go. So being all knowing is innate in His nature, correct? It's not that He's dependent on it.
That's what makes Allah God.
Okay, so good. Three persons, the three persons of the Godhead, that's necessary to God's nature.
But here's the thing.
Just
These
like how
three.
you say that His knowledge is necessary to His nature, three persons is necessary to the nature of God.
But
It's
here's the
not that
problem.
God is dependent on any, and to be dependent, you need that requires something outside of oneself. When you're depending on something outside of you. We're saying that God within Himself God doesn't depend on anything outside of Himself.
Okay, but here's the thing. God, the three Godheads, they're distinct. That's one thing to take into account.
There is no three Godheads.
Huh?
There's no three Godheads.
Okay, three persons. My bad. I said it wrong. Three persons. They're all distinct. They're all powerful. They're all knowing. They each have the God nature. Saying
Correct.
that without one of them would be insufficient. That's just saying that God, its nature is not fully.
No, it means that, for example, if Allah was without knowledge, would He be insufficient?
No, because Allah, because it's not.
You
It's
said
not.
no.
No. Listen, it's not distinct from. That's the difference. But the three persons, they're distinct.
Is Allah His knowledge?
No.
So His knowledge is distinct from Him, then, right?
No, it's not distinct from Him.
I'll ask again: is Allah His knowledge?
Bro, it's like I can say that exact same thing about you. I can say, are you funny?
Is Allah His knowledge?
No, Allah is not His knowledge.
I'm a composite being. I'm made up of parts. I have knowledge. I have these different parts that make me up, that make me me. I have different parts. I'm composite.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Is
Okay,
Allah
let's say.
composite?
How
Do you
far
believe
are you?
Allah's made up of parts?
Huh?
Is Allah made up of parts?
He's not made up of parts. He's made up of attributes.
Attributes. Okay. Is He equal to His attributes? Is He identical to His attributes?
No, they are what make up God or Allah.
Okay. Nice. Are His attributes identical to each other?
No.
So these attributes are distinct. They're not each other. So therefore, these are parts.
They're distinct, but they're all together. They make up God. Yes.
So let me ask you another question. Allah's hand. Is Allah His hand?
No. It's
So
just
His
a
hand
fat.
is.
Allah did not. Allah. We call Allah's hand a fat. Allah's hand is not like a human's hand. Yes.
No worries. So Allah's hand is one of His attributes. So His hand is not Him. There's another part. Does Allah have a shin?
Does he?
You don't know?
Is he fat? Is
Yeah,
that one of his sifats?
Yes, it's one of His sifat. He has a shin.
All right.
Okay. So Allah has a shin, and He also has two right arms. Is His shin the same thing as His right arm?
No, the attributes are distinct.
So they're different.
So
you have
each other.
Now without the shin, you have without the. If He didn't have the shin, would He still be Allah?
He wouldn't be Allah. He wouldn't really be objective then. In that case,
He wouldn't be Allah. So Allah needs these different components and these different parts in order for Him to be whole.
Yeah, be a whole. Yes, but that's the thing.
That means He's in parts.
No, He's not in parts. Because they make up the whole. These attributes.
When you say they make up the whole,
yes, they make up the whole.
That means parts.
I wouldn't say okay. That's wording. You can word it into saying it's parts, but you can't say the same thing about the three persons. No, they're distinct. They're all powerful. One of the persons, you're basically saying that one of the persons is not all knowing, all powerful. Because if they really are, then that would be sufficient enough for existence.
Huh?
Is one of the persons sufficient enough of the God of the Trinity? Are one of the persons is sufficient enough?
So let me just break it down like this, bro. In order for God to be God, there are certain necessary things, right, that go with being God, having the divine nature. One of these necessary things, for you can't be God and not be all knowing. Would you agree?
Yes.
So these are certain things that are necessary that comes with being God. So
Yes.
what I'm saying is that being multi-personal, specifically being three persons, being at least three persons, is what is necessary for God to be God. Just like it's necessary that he's all powerful for him to be God, it's necessary that he possesses all knowledge to be God.
That's a
Him,
question.
three persons is necessary for him to be God.
And why is that? Why does God? Why is that necessary?
Good question. Because God is the greatest, maximally conceivable being. Whatever we can conceive of, God is the greatest. Right? Like, for example, if we just break this down, merciful. God is the most merciful, right?
Yes.
The highest that we can conceive of mercy, even beyond what we can conceive, that's what he is. He's that type of mercy. Justice. He's the most just, right?
Yes.
So whatever we can conceive, the highest that we can conceive of justice, God is at least that, but he's even more because he goes beyond what we can conceive. So when it comes to love, when it comes to love, he is the greatest form of love, right?
Okay, conceive.
So he's the greatest form of love. Now let's break down forms of love. You have, for example,
Wait, GodLogic. Iftar is really soon, so could you kind of wrap this up?
Say what?
Iftar is really. I have to break my fast soon.
All right, how long we got?
I got like 8 minutes, but like I got five. I got like 5 minutes to make it.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. All I need is 5. So love, God is the most loving. So let's break down the forms of love. He's the highest form of love, right? So let's break down the forms of love. You have what is self-love, right? Where you show your self-love and you take care of yourself, and you have self-love. Right?
I get what you're saying. You
already got it. So you understand. I would just ask you, what is a greater form of love? Having just yourself, loving yourself, or sharing that love with another?
Sharing that love with others, but if you want to be, you could say the exact same thing that like about God can be 100 or 1,000 because.
Well, no, this is what the argument is. I'm about to break it down to you why it doesn't have to be 100 or 1,000. I'm going to show you because the quality of love doesn't change once we get to cooperative love, which requires 3. Cooperative love only requires 3 persons, not 4, 5, 6. If it's 4, 5, 6 and beyond, it's still just cooperative love. So all those extra persons are unnecessary. All that's necessary is 3. So you have self-love, which is just 1 person. You have shared love, which is 2 persons, right? So at the very least, God in his nature has to at least be 2 persons, since we can conceive of that. That exits out Allah, because Allah is only 1 person, so he's already deficient.
It doesn't need
God has
no, because God, Allah, he doesn't need a partner. He doesn't need any love from it. He gets his love from us. He doesn't need another being like himself.
So he's dependent.
He's not dependent. He doesn't need.
He's dependent.
He doesn't
on
need
creation in order to possess a higher form of love than just self-love. He's dependent on creation for that.
No, because that's not what he depended on. It's just like that's like saying. Okay,
does Allah have shared love without creation?
Does Allah have shared love without creation?
Yeah.
Well, he does nothing. He created us for us to worship him.
So does he have shared love without creation?
Does he have shared love without creation? No.
Exactly. So even though you said that shared love is a higher form of love than selfish love, so even a higher form of love that you can conceive, that you can even conceive and comprehend, Allah is not even that. Not by himself. Allah needs creation in order to be that.
He doesn't need it. He made us to worship him. He doesn't need
Well, I'm showing you that your concept of God is deficient and dependent on creation in order to be maximal.
Wait, Jesus.
God is supposed to be maximal without us, without anything else. He does with his own self. He's supposed to be maximal, the maximally greatest conceivable being. Allah is not.
Wait, say that again, actually. Because I'm doing some stuff before I have to go break my fast.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying that your concept of God, you can conceive of a quality that of love that is higher than what your God is even capable of. Showing, and for your God to even have shared love, he has to create something outside of himself in order to have that higher quality of love. So he's dependent.
He's not depending on the love though, because let's say if nobody worshipped Allah, that would not make him not existent. No, because dependence is basically without the component
You're missing it. I'm not talking about existence. I'm talking about his qualities. For God to be God, he has to be the highest conceivable being. That's what God is.
He doesn't need worship.
So no worries. If you can conceive of something higher than God, then what you can conceive of is God, not whatever you're calling God. If you can conceive of a form of love higher than the form of love that your God is capable of, then your God is not God.
Yes.
He's insufficient.
Yes.
So that means that since we can conceive of a higher form of love that requires at least two persons, then Allah, who is only one person, is not God. He's insufficient.
I don't think you're getting our theology because you're using Christian theology to Islamic theology.
No,
is he not dependent? He does not need our worship. He does not even need us. If nobody on earth worshipped him, if everyone just ignored God, it's whatever. He would just burn all of us. Whatever. He doesn't need us. He created us for a purpose. That purpose is behind his wisdom. But he told us in the Quran, he created us to worship him. That's halas. That's objective. But
all right, we could continue this on another time.
Yeah,
man.
I have like 3 minutes.
All right, take care, man. You're welcome back anytime, man.
When's your next live?
Wednesday.
All right, I'll try to get on then.
All right.